ESPN.
What's up, nation? Welcome to another edition of the Wise Take MLB First Look. I'm your host, CK013. You can find me on Twitter at CK_013, and you can follow the Wise Take Nation on Twitter at Wise_Take. That's at Wise_Take. We've got a 9-game slate on Thursday. Pretty good size with it. Once again, somewhat similar start as far as pitching goes at the top to the slates we've had. We've got some really good arms. There's depth in the SP1 area. Where it's a little bit different is we don't have a ton of attractive options that are cheap, and that could make things a little bit more difficult when trying to, pay all the way up for some of these, aces. For example, on yesterday's slate, you had Verlander, and you also had Montgomery, who was trash, or Hauser, who did well. But there were guys, there were options. I think in the previous slate, it was like another ace and like Davies or something, or Waka or something, right? Like, we've had these high-low situations. Today, the low is a little harder to roll with. You've got Detweiler, Zimmerman, Eduardo, Brault, Savali, who's 6'2". He's not even like as cheap as some of the other guys. When looking at this from a cash game perspective, my initial instinct is to want Garrett Cole, and I think you still try to find a way to make this work. But Garrett Cole, 1,200. Against Detroit, we saw Verlander didn't even get the win, and he still went complete game with 11 Ks and put up a 39 on DraftKings. So Cole, you would imagine, could do something similar, if not even better, if he gets a little bit of offensive support, which should happen against Zimmerman on the other side. So instinctually, it's like I want to just say lock in the 12K guy. The issue is that, again, it's deep. We got Scherzer making his return, and don't know if I want to play Scherzer in cash in his first game back and see what his pitch count may be. But either way, it's probably better reserved for tournaments when for $600 more you have Cole against a strikeout heavy team. I think Soroka against Miami seems fairly safe. He's 10K, a solid pitcher. Been a little inconsistent lately, but solid pitcher. The issue, of course, with him is usually ceiling, but you're saving $2,000. And at this point, when you go to the SP2s, again, it's not that great. I think you can make an argument for Savali, but in a cash game, I don't think I'd feel that comfortable with him, considering that the Mets are pretty heavy favorites, and they've just been hitting the ball. They let me down last night, but they did win the game ultimately. So if you were playing Cole, I guess right now, from what I see, the cheapest I could go is probably Savali, unless you're willing to pay up a little bit. I will say this. I do think that Kenta Maeda 8,100 against Toronto seems like a decent spot. I mean, the price is right. You've got that Woj, whatever, on the other side. Not a good pitcher. The Dodgers offense is very good. And Toronto does lose a hitter. They lose a DH and have to bat their pitcher. So I don't mind Tanaka, who has looked really good recently. Even against Atlanta, he put up a 17, gave up 3 earned, but he struck out 9 Braves, and that was only in 4 2/3. They did pull him. That's always the downside. But again, we are still getting somewhat of a discount. So Maeda does seem like a guy you would want. The issue, of course, is if you go with Cole, you're spending over $20,000 of your salary on pitching. And if enough value opens up, that's fine. But if it doesn't, it's going to be pretty difficult to make like a solid team. So because of that, if you were going to roll with Kenta Maeda, that may be what would make you try to come down to Soroka. And again, you're sacrificing potential ceiling, I think, but at least you'll get some better bats. But is it enough? That's the question. I have never been comfortable with the double mid-tier in cash. In tournaments, I love it, but in cash, I always kind of felt like I wanted a main ace. So maybe this is a slate where you look for that value. But if not, it's going to get rough. And the only way you're going to be able to afford solid bats using a guy like Maeda is like to play like a guy like Tanaka with him, who has looked a little more solid lately. his last 2 outings, and is only 7,500, which is really, really cheap. So I'm liking this build for tournaments. Cash, I just don't know. I guess hypothetically you could move Tanaka out, Maeda out, maybe take a chance on Tanaka with Cole. It's a little easier. It's just hard. Like in cash, I want Cole, but I don't know. Like I want to say get Cole and just make things work, but I also understand that that's not always so easy. But if you're willing to play Savali, which I don't feel great about, he has looked decent, right? Even if he gets you an 11 at 6'2", it's not that bad. But yeah, I'd probably try to play Cole. In tournaments, though, I do kind of like the idea of that Tanaka Maeda build, and you can see 4,300 to work with, which maybe on some slates wouldn't seem like a ton, but if guys are going to be trying to pay up for Cole and some of these other aces, because they don't, they feel more confident in some of those cheaper SP2s than, or even if they end up paying up at SP2, you'll end up having more salary than them, so it's not that bad. As far as offenses go, I do think Houston once again is kind of right in front of everybody's face against Zimmerman. I haven't been huge on Houston. I've been willing to accept that their spots are awesome, but I've been hesitant because of the price. I do think one advantage to playing a team like Houston is like the full stack of the studs is usually fairly low owned. So they got kind of shut down by Norris today. Very curious to see how they respond against Zimmerman. They are pretty obvious offense, I know, but kind of get the obvious out the way. The White Sox could be one of the sneakier ones, I think. They've actually been playing well, and Uardo has been terrible. So Uardo is very boom or bust. Either he's going to go out there and ball because the White Sox have a history of sucking, or he's going to get his ass kicked because he's been bad lately, and the White Sox have been decent lately. I think they beat up on Odorizzi today. They made life difficult for Gibson. They've been showing some fight, and it's a good hitting ballpark. So it's a boomer bust spot, but the White Sox could be a low-end offense that are fairly affordable and could give you some upside. Well, their prices have come up because they played well, so you can see the prices have increased. But the ownership shouldn't be too high for them, and it's still a good park. Texas has a terrible bullpen. Does make some sense. I also think that the Dodgers, we liked them on last night's first look show because we thought it was going to be Wage or whatever. It ended up being Godley, so we liked them even more. But this time they're going to see Wade, so I'm totally fine with the Dodgers as the late night hammer. Last game going all by itself. Those are nice when you get those right. And Washington, right? Like, once again, they exploded tonight. They get Steven Brault, who's actually been a little bit better lately. Not good by any stretch, but he's been better lately. His last start was good against the Cubs. But you can see before that, Houston kind of blew him up. He hasn't been super home run prone. That's been the thing. But, like, we know he's got blow-up potential. He's got a short leash out there typically when he's not pitching well. And the Nationals have just been red hot. There is a good amount of offense. I think there's more appealing offenses to me on this slate. Not like super over the top, but like there's options, I feel. I was a little more concentrated on the previous slates. But Tampa Bay, another boomer bust type situation. They get this Asher kid who's been decent, but he is a big fly ball. He is a homer prone guy. When things go wrong for Asher, it's home runs. He gives up a lot of fly balls and a lot of hard contact. He just misses a lot of bats. So if he's not missing the bats, he's going to be getting bombed. So the Rays, we have to definitely look at. They've exploded in this park a couple times for good reason. Terrible bullpen. And they've been on a West Coast road trip. There's going to be, and you can see Tommy Pham was just red hot over that series in Seattle. Austin Meadows, decent, consistency, 7.919. This could be a pretty good time to roll with him. Let me see. Choi, not so much. Sogard, how's he? Oh, yeah. Sogard is 5K, hasn't really done a ton. That's disappointing. I think Duffy's actually been. Nope. So I guess just Pham, but I mean, either way, they're getting a nice park boost. Going to be hard to ignore them. But I tell you what, though, if they don't hit this kid is going to have like 12 strikeouts because that's the way he is. But I do lean towards the Rays hitting him, so we'll have to see. But I'm sitting, it's a lot of ways to go offensively. The issue, of course, is finding the right pitching combination. So maybe this time the marquee aces go a little lower owned if people don't feel comfortable pitching these cheap guys. Either that or we're going to see them settle. I can see Savali gaining some traction tomorrow, and as far as ownership goes, if people do want to spend up. Either that or people will just go with Maeda and like Soroka or something. I can see that being decent. I don't mind that in cash. I just don't like to sacrifice ceiling. But I guess you're kind of making it up because Maeda has a higher ceiling than 8-1 would allow you to think. He doesn't hit it as often. He's been a little iffy, but he does have it. We paid expensive prices for Maeda not too long ago. So there you go, a little over 18 grand for pitching. Maybe this will be a combination in cash, but I kind of liked for tournaments the Tanaka Maeda. We'll see. That might end up getting traction, but I did kind of like it. That's going to do it for the slate breakdown portion. I'm going to remind you all, if you haven't checked us out at yslate.com, make sure you get over there. Come join the nation. Come try us out. Day pass is $2.50. You'll get access to all the MLB content for one full day. Only thing you don't get access to is a Slack chat. That's for monthly members or higher only, which we do recommend after you try us out. You see what it is. We are a DFS community, a DFS premium content provider. And we're going to make you a better DFS player. So, come check us out, whitesec.com. And don't forget, the NFL season pass is still up. The first sale will end September 1st. Price will be going up. Price for the full season come game one is $149.99. You can get it right now for $99.99 after promo code Early Owl NFL 2019. No spaces, just Early Owl NFL 2019. When you're checking out under the coupon box, you will get $50 off the season pass. Full season NFL, all the content and Slack chat. And that's it. So make sure you take advantage. September 1, this offer ends. May do another offer, but it will be more expensive than this one. So take advantage. All right. Top threes. So top threes, I'm going to have to say Cole number 1. But then I think I'm going to go with Maeda. So Cole, Maeda, and Tanaka. That's what I'm going to do. Cole, Maeda, and Tanaka. As far as stacks, we'll go Tampa Bay, Washington Nationals, and we'll go back to the Dodgers. Actually, yeah. We'll go back to the Dodgers. I just don't see how I'm going to reach Houston. Even with that double mid-tier build, it's going to be tough. But Dodgers, Washington, Tampa. Dong Watch. Anthony Rendon. That's happening. Let's go with... Be patient here and look here. Let's go with... wow, J-Ram is cheap. Tough matchup against Syndergaard. I'm just saying he's cheap. We'll go with Jock Peterson. Or actually, no, we're going to go with Pham. Let's go with Tommy Pham. I know he's 5K, but man, the dude's been hitting. And then... I do want a Dodger. Ballinger's a little too... Seager. Here we go. Corey Seager. Rendon, Seager, Pham. That is today's Dong Watch. Thanks for watching. Make sure you hit that like button on YouTube, that thumbs up. Helps us out. Goes a long way. Yeah. And let's do it. Okay. For myself, the entire White Tech Nation, as always, good luck. Yeah.